Hello and welcome to Life's Like That, the podcast where we talk to people on their journey and call out the second chance hero in all of us. I'm Talie Starr. Thank you so much for joining us, and we really hope you enjoyed this episode. This month is International Day of Hope, and last month was World Refugee Day, and I thought it'd be really important to marry the two themes together. Our guest today is Munjed Al Muderis, an orthopaedic surgeon, a refugee, a survivor, and a man who has come through enormous trauma to turn his life around repeatedly. Munjed's story is fairly traumatic, but we've tried to stay with the sense of hope that he keeps bringing through. If you find some of the things disturbing in this, please do talk to someone, because help is always available. I hope this story inspires you, and I hope his experiences in life and how he continues to be resilient will give you a sense of hope and a sense that we can keep going. Hello and welcome. It's so great to have you with us, Munjed.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I'm very pleased to see you again.
Yeah, it's great to see you too. Can you just introduce yourself for us?
My name is Munjed Al Muderis. I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I specialize in complex limb reconstruction surgery, arthroplasty, and osseointegration. I have an extensive practice in Sydney in Australia, and now I'm practicing in the United States. And I have an international practice in several countries, including Abu Dhabi, Poland, Colombia, and expanding now, hopefully, to Turkey and China.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. And it's so great that those skills can be shared around the world.
Thank you.
Wanted to ask you, when you were a child, what sort of qualities did you have?
Well, I was a troublemaker, as always. I don't think that I lost that habit. And I was a very, I think you can diagnose me with ADHD if you go backward. And lucky I was not medicated, because otherwise I'll be sitting in the corner looking at everybody. But I was very disruptive. I didn't leave any toy intact. I always destroyed my toys by pulling them apart and trying to put them back together. And but I had a very, very colorful childhood, and it was very interesting because I feel sorry for my children now that I see how they grow up in the modern era where everybody's stuck to their laptop and iPad. We didn't have that back in the days. We were just outside, out in the garden, out in the bush, just exploring things under the sun, living the life as you would, with a stick and a bowl, and running around exploring things.
Oh, I love that. And I just love that image of this child pulling apart things. Can you tell me, when I say the word hero, what does that mean to you?
A hero is something that you would look up to, and you would want to be someone. It is something that from childhood you grow up thinking about. I have many heroes in my life, and I grew up looking at many heroes in history and in the literature, in many fields, in science, in sports, in bravery, and champions in many fields, from painting to rocket science and exploring the universe.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I love the expansive view you have of the word hero and how it fits into so many different places in our world and in our lives. So you were this inquisitive child and you had a lot of energy and you loved to pull things apart. How did you move into this kind of work? Like, what happened to lead you to where you started to think about this?
I lived in a country that's war torn. I've seen a lot of disability. I've seen a lot of suffering. I mean, I've witnessed things that you'd never wish it to be witnessed by your loved ones. unfortunately, I've seen the first dead person at the age of 6.
Wow.
So I lived with surrounded by trauma, but we were trying to live our day to day as normal as it can be. Go to school under the rains of bullets and air raids, but life was enjoyable. With that comes a lot of resilience, a lot of determination that you want to survive, and I guess at the same time that opens the mind about doing things that are different, doing things
Yeah.
that makes a difference for others. So in 1984, I watched The Terminator, and that stuck in my head that I want to make half human, half machine.
Yeah, that's incredible. I just can't imagine, and I think a lot of the audience won't be able to imagine just what it's like to live with that kind of trauma every day of your life. Like, how does a child manage that?
Well, it's not something that you wish it to anyone, but
Yeah.
there are two things that can happen to you. Either it can destroy you and make you someone that has resentment to anything surrounding you and live with hate to everything, or you this can become something to influence you getting better and moving away from this kind of environment and build on it, on the experience that you have, and build on the resilience that you developed with time. I mean, I have what I've been through would destroy anyone,
Yeah.
and I can say for sure I'm very strong, and I lived through a lot of difficulties, but if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. And I always say to my adversaries and people who, I have conflicts with, I always tell them that if you hit, make sure you kill me, because if you don't kill me, I'll get 10 times stronger. And I've been stronger and stronger.
Yeah, and I want to come to that because you have an amazingly resilient story. And I think it's just incredible what's inside of you to keep you persisting and persisting against all of these things. So you saw the Terminator and it sparked something in you that you wanted to make this half man, half human machine thing. Where does it go from there?
So I decided to do engineering, and then I finished my year 12, which is the baccalaureate equivalent of HSC. And I remember that moment where I sat with my aunt. My marks were high enough to get me to medical school, and but I wanted to do engineering. And my aunt was a principal at school, and she said to me, "Look, I know what you want, but I think you should do medicine." And because if you get to medicine and you don't like it, you can always move into engineering. But if you go to engineering, you can never go to medicine because it's a higher degree. So she convinced me to do that. And as a result of that, I went to medical school, and I saw a field in medicine where I can do reconstructive surgery. From the first year, I became the anatomy dissector. So I was in charge of the cadavers and learned anatomy very well. And I found that field very interesting. I wasn't much interested in the prescription and the pharmaceutical side of things of medicine. I was more interested in the mechanical aspect of it,
Mm.
where there is the function of the muscles and the joints and the tissues and how they interact with each other and how the biomechanics work. So I progressed in medicine, finished my medical school, and wanted to do reconstructive surgery.
Yeah, wow. So you just have a fascinating story. I'm just like you saw a dead body when you were younger, when you're 6. You then worked with cadavers, which are dead bodies, and then you got this fascination for wanting to make something better for people. Like I'm just loving hearing this journey. When you think about that and where it's going to lead you, what were like the next steps for you? Because you've come up with quite an unique, inventive, pioneering way forward that people haven't thought. How do you make that leap?
So again, throughout the journey, I mean, I remember with my cousin, we sat there at the age of 14, we made a first radio station. And it was under the regime of Saddam Hussein, and it was like an oppressive regime.
Yeah.
And we broadcasted for a kilometer radius.
Wow.
And it was from a speaking spell, that first, like, you know, the orange thing that ET had.
Yep.
And we were inspired by ET basically, and he was studying electronics, and luckily we were not arrested, because we broadcast for a very short period of time, and all of a sudden we noticed that police are, looking around for where is that coming from. So we had all these kind of ideas in our heads, and I think that creativity comes with the need to do something that's not available, and there's boredom, basically, because we didn't have what's available now to us. I mean, I was making kites, colorful kites, and selling them basically, and I earned living from it. Basically, I could buy toys with it when I was a child. And that progressed with time to being in medical school. I mean, I was hopeless medical student. I just did whatever is enough to make me pass,
Hmm.
and but I had very enjoyable time at the medical school, and then as I was eh, progressing in medicine, I was using a lot of the body parts that we get, plastinated body parts or bones, and I was like making drawings with them, making assemblies of joints and how they should work, and cutting the bones, and doing things that may sound very awkward, but I was trying to figure out solutions for um, certain parts of the body that people use to study their anatomy, while I was looking at it from a different perspective. I was utilizing these objects and structures to make mechanical as like things
Yeah.
with them. And I still have a lot of samples that looked very awkward, but it's from like plastinated anatomical structures that are made of plastic and other foams and things like that.
So I kind of get the picture of you going, what would happen if I take this and I put it with this? And what would happen if I move that and I change that and alter this in this way? Like, yeah.
Yeah, so and I always thought about, I've seen a lot of amputees back in the days, and I always thought about hooking up the nervous tissue with electronics and
Mm.
with cables and wires, and then extending that to a robotic arm. And as primitive as it was, it gave me an idea about doing things that can be extending parts of the body that has been lost for one
Yeah.
reason or another.
Yeah. Wow. That's real Terminator image coming back to me there when you're talking
Yes.
about that. It's absolutely fascinating because it hasn't been an easy road to do what you've done. I know that when you were in Iran, things got more complicated for you. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Iraq was a
Oh, sorry,
country that,
Iraq.
yeah, that's all right. They're all Persia. So was run by a dictator, Saddam Hussein. A lot of people starting to forget that name now. It's been a long time. I mean, he was a very authoritarian kind of person with an ideology about his regime and what the system should be like. So, and he used to come up with ideas and decisions at a drop of a hat, basically, as any dictator would in history. And one day he decided that people who desert the army, they should be punished, and the punishment would be chopping their ears off. So I was a junior doctor in Baghdad University Hospital, where we were confronted with 3 busloads of army deserters brought up by Republican guards and Ba'ath Party members, and they ordered us to mutilate these soldiers by taking their ears off under anesthetics, and that was the most confronting moment in my life, where I had to face a decision: would I obey the commands and cut army deserters' ears and live with guilt for the rest of my life? Would I refuse and end up with a bullet in my head, similar to the head of the department that rejected the orders?
Wow.
Or would I run away? And as a result of that, I decided to escape. I managed to hide in the female toilets for 5 hours. That felt like 5 years. And
Yeah.
from there onward, I run away to the outskirts of Baghdad in a farm, waiting for friends and family to um, bring me some money and try to smuggle me outside the country. And they managed to do so. I escaped to Jordan. From Jordan, I went to Malaysia, then to Indonesia, got into um, um, knowing people smugglers in a very short period of time with the help of people that I met throughout the journey. I managed to get on a leaky boat that was not seaworthy to Australia, and ended up in Australia in November 1999, and was incarcerated for a year in
Wow.
detention center.
Gosh, that's a whole conversation there, just that whole
Yeah,
journey and the detention center.
yeah.
Can I
And
ask what was
yeah,
going through your mind while all of this was happening?
well, it was a fight and flight
Yeah.
time where there was no time to think. It was a survival mode, and I was just thinking about what's the next step and
Yeah.
how to survive the journey, because it was like, you hear and see footage on TV about um, uh, people who are refugees and crossing borders, risking their lives. But what people don't realize is that it is so easy to lose your life in these
Yeah.
journeys. It is so simple.
Yeah.
Okay. And there is no guarantee about any aspects of what decision you make, because jumping on a boat, the boat before us sunk,
Oh, wow.
and people lost their lives. And, I mean, even when we were on the boat, we were crammed like sardines. We didn't know if anyone have fallen off the boat, because there was no head count. There was nothing
Wow.
to document the existence of any of us, basically.
So it was almost like you were floating in the middle of the ocean with no identity.
Exactly, and that was horrific on its own.
Yeah.
Then you move from that to safety, but then you get treated very viciously by the Australian Department of Immigration, and the system back then. I don't think it has improved. I mean, it depends on which government comes, but there was absolute disgraceful treatment that we received
Wow.
back in the days. The first thing that happened to us, we were marked with numbers. My number was 982, and that was my name for a year. I can tell you how bad it was. I spent some time in maximum security prison in Australia while I was seeking asylum, and I can tell you the jail system, the prison system in Australia is absolutely fabulous. I recommend it to everybody. Comparatively to the detention center,
Wow.
it was the detention center was hell, and the prison system was like heaven. We were treated with respect, with dignity. I had change of clothes. I was called by my name. While inside the detention center, we had no access to anything. I had the same clothes that I came with from the boat and kept them for a year. I was called 982 for that period, and it left a significant black mark in my brain. And
Yeah.
a lot of people were traumatized irreversibly. it's unnecessary treatment.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have been damaged irreversibly as a result of the way they've been treated in the detention
Yeah.
center.
Well, understandably, you've gone through this horrible trauma. You've got onto a boat, which again is another horrible trauma. You're in survival mode just to stay alive. You come to a place where you think, oh my gosh, this place might offer me some peace, some hope. And then you're treated appallingly again. Like, how does someone like that, in all of those situations, still remain with some hope? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound ungrateful. The prison system was amazing, one of the best prison systems in the world, and but that's because it's a different department. And
yes.
the problem with what we faced is the policy of immigration and the Department
Mm,
of Immigration under John Howard and Philip Roddock. It was horrible, and I think Philip Roddock was just a person who believed that using harshness to deter people from coming is the right way, and
mm,
ignoring that um, Australia is a signatory to the Human Rights Convention, and
yes.
ignoring that we have obligation toward people who seek asylum. The problem is, it is not breaking the law to cross borders if you are in fear of your life,
Yes.
and that is the mandate of the Geneva Conventions, and Australia is a signatory to it, so we can't just walk away from it. And at the same time that we came to Australia, there were over 1.3 million people crossing the borders to Germany, and the
Yeah.
treatment was completely different by the Germans. They were much smarter. We were spending astronomical amount of money on deterring people from coming in, despite that the country need more people. And if we have a policy, and I'm not going to be, talking politics here, but if we're going to have a policy of, just getting professors, who's going to clean the toilets? We need people. We need someone to go and and do the handiwork. Someone that work in abattoirs, someone that can farm the
Mm,
land. Um, Funny enough, a lot of these people that are coming to our shores are skilled people, and the way you look at it, the way Canada treats refugees, the way Germany treat refugees, they made big fortunes out of the refugees because these people are coming in with skills. They're all young, they're
mm.
not aged, they're not retirement age, and they all will have children that will, reverse the equation of the dying population.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, isn't it? The image that we have doesn't fit the reality. And I think
Exactly.
we're not
And
understanding the depth of people's lives. We're not understanding the depths of their skills. Like I've talked to different people in different places, and they've been, oh, yes, I trained as an engineer, and they might be helping me at the checkout. Like there are people just willing to take jobs and work hard. And I think we
exactly. I mean,
forget that.
my first job in Australia was toilet cleaning, and did I dislike it? No, it's a job like any other job, and I would go back to it if I have to. I mean, it's a job as long as you're doing something decent,
Yeah.
and there is nothing wrong with any kind of jobs. It's the mentality and the fundamental aspects about these are foreigners coming in to take our jobs, and these are
Mm,
foreigners coming in to eat my food is wrong. You
yeah.
need to have larger population in order to grow the economy. Look at our next door neighbor. Singapore is the size of Sydney with a population of 8 or 9 million people, and they have a GDP stronger than Australia.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
and they
think,
have nothing to produce. It's just they depend on their human power.
and I think that's a good, like the human power, I think is something that I see coming through you as well. Like from being willing to clean toilets to designing this life changing system. Now, I cannot pronounce it. Can you pronounce it for me?
What osseointegration?
Yes,
Okay.
it's a simple word, but every time I look at it, I can't do it. Osseointegration, yes. It's been a quite an incredible journey for you because you've had so much to overcome and you continue regardless of what's being thrown at you. You really are saying to those people, come on, if you're going to give me full on, you'll have to take my life rather than stop me, because you don't stop. You keep going, you keep getting the hits, and you keep going. And what gives you hope to keep going?
Well, what give me hope to keep going is that I have a lot in me that I can give back. And I learned a lesson from my dad. He said, before you die, make sure you do at least one of three things: either a knowledge that you leave behind, or a charity, or kids that will carry your legacy. But that doesn't mean only your children. It's, passing the knowledge and the legacy to others. And I'm not religious, but this is a very, very wise advice. And if you ask me the question, am I satisfied with what I have achieved? Yes, I am. If I die tomorrow, I'll die happy. But if you give me a chance to live another day, I'll do more.
Yeah.
And I'll continue to do more. And that's every day is a new day, and there is a chance of helping more. There is a chance of bringing something that the world will benefit from, and that's what make me keep going, because there is a lot. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy what I do, and I love life, and I love living it to the max. People criticize me for doing whatever I do with my own life. That's my personal aspects.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I'm productive. I bring a positive impact to the society, and I'm not. I'm a go-getter, and I'm not gonna be shy of it, or have any regrets about anything I've done.
Yeah, and I don't think you should. I think that's a thing. In Australia, we have this tall poppy syndrome where we like to, anyone that gets too high, we have to pull down. And I think being able to sit in your truth of, this is who I am, this is who I was created to be, this is the gifts and talents and skills that I've been able to bring, and move that through. Like, I think that is such an important thing. And I do love the things that you're saying that your father said, leave with knowledge, leave with charity, or with kids, as in leaving a legacy going forward. I think they're all super important things to have. When we're looking at overcoming the obstacles that you've had to overcome, and you're still going through obstacles now, how did you get to the point where you're just like, you know what, I've got this amazing thing that is transforming lives. I'm not going to give up.
Well, it goes back to the time I was in the detention center, and I can give you an example. I caused a lot of problems in the detention center because I couldn't keep my mouth shut, and the Department of Immigration didn't like me at all. Okay,
I
and
love that.
miraculously, for one reason or another, my name disappeared from the register. So I existed in the detention center, but I wasn't processed, and that was the lowest point in my life, basically, that I
Yeah.
remember. Um, where I did exist as a human being. They were feeding me, they were bringing me meals in the hotel, or they call it the hotel, which is their solitary confinement for naughty people in the detention center. Um, but I didn't have any legal representation. I didn't have any process going in the system, while everybody was processed. And especially after, I don't know if you remember, in 2000 there were a massive breakout of free detention centers that brought the attention of the world to these asylum seekers or refugees that are lingering in our detention centers for months and months without anyone noticing them. And that was the moment where I thought, am I going to be rotten here for forever? What's going to happen to me? But then I thought, no, there must be a light at the end of the tunnel, and there must be something better coming. And it took an act of kindness, which I've seen so many times in my life, and I continue to see, where someone managed to get my phone number, contacted my mother. My mother contacted an immigration lawyer in Sydney, who went to the Department of Immigration and told them that this guy exists inside your detention system. And that's how I started the process. Another act of kindness that I received when I was in Christmas Island, a refugee coming in, taken by the police to go and intercept another boat, where a policeman just handed me a satellite phone and say, call your mom, tell her that you're alive. Okay.
Oh,
This
wow.
person didn't have to do what he did. And you see these things, that's what give me hope,
Yeah.
that there are good people around and there are people that care just for the sake of helping others. And by the same token, we do have the tall puppy syndrome. We do have people who try to take you down. But this is the society. You have one slice that is bad. You have another slice that is good,
Yeah.
and you just need to keep the balance and even the good with the bad, and continue. So the point is that the technology that I help developing is a revolutionary technology that deserve to exist. The way we look at people that lose limbs, amputation is a curse, historically speaking. And even in medical school, you study 6 years of medicine, and they teach us about amputation for less than an hour because that's always looked at as a failure of surgery. The way I look at it, the way um, should be looked at, in my opinion, is that it is another step in recovery and rehabilitation. And what I bring to the table is that we can lose a limb, but we should not lose hope in mobility, and we
Yeah.
can replace a limb. And the attempts that have been done to restore functionalities by using a socket mounted prosthesis is 600 years old.
Yeah. Wow.
So Ambroise Paré, a French naval officer, and he was a surgeon for the Navy, he invented the socket mounted prosthesis, and we still use it to date. And that is a very, very outdated technology. And what
Mm.
we're bringing is something that integrate with the bone, hook up with the muscles, and hook up with the nervous system and allow the patient to regain mobility. A lot of the time, people have limbs that are useless. A lot of the time, people have limbs that are stiff. A lot of the time, people have limbs that are painful and they just want to get rid of it. But they don't go beyond the point of losing the limb. And what we can do is that you can lose that limb, get rid of the damaged part, and then replace it with something that can be functional.
That's amazing. I wish we could talk for a lot longer. This is such a fascinating discussion. I'm just loving just the humbleness and humility about you and your journey to hear is just so encouraging to hear. Like what you've been through, you could be, like you said at the beginning, that really hard, bitter, hurt person, which all is rightly so, but you've done something so different with it. So when you look back at that young child, what qualities do you think you've gained since you've been on this incredible journey of life?
I think as you grow older, you get grounded.
Yeah.
And you become less irrational. And I mean, the biggest qualities that I earned with time is definitely I am more humble. When you see failure, and you fail again, you learn how to succeed and you learn how to enjoy success. But you should never forget that you can fail again.
Mm.
And if you don't fail, you won't enjoy the taste of success.
Yeah.
But when you are on top, you always need to think that tomorrow may be a worse day.
Yeah.
So don't take it for granted. So that's one aspect. The second aspect is that I learned to become more strategic, and uh, I am a very good planner. Um, and I'm here for the long haul. And um, the war cannot be won from one battle. And I'm going through battles.
Yes,
I've been
you
through
are.
battles, and I got to the point where um, one ill-informed journalists tried to take me down and take my career down. And what she didn't think of is that the loss of a country, a society, with what this can bring with it. Thousands of patients got disadvantaged because of what
Yes.
she did. Um, and but it was a personal gain for her to make a career out of it. This is unfortunate with our society, that people are selfish and so self-centered, and they don't think beyond the the simple glory that they get from achieving. Okay, well, I want a story. You need to look at the big picture and the effect of what we do to others. And that's the thing. When I walk in the road, I look at the ground. I don't want to step on an ant. Ants maybe feeding someone. But sadly, not many people see it that way. But again, we're here for the long run, and we will win. What's right is right, and karma comes back at you.
And truth eventually comes out.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I'm very confident. I can tell you for sure, every day when I go to bed, I sleep on my pillow, I ask myself a question: have I done justice to the world? And I
Wow.
can sleep with my eyes closed happily, that I don't wake up in the morning.
That's a really incredible thought to think. Your whole being is about serving. And that's the sense that I'm getting. I know when I worked with you, it was really about serving me. How could I get this really complex situation, give this person hope, turn things around for them? And that is really what resonated with me when I was meeting with you. And I think that's what you give to all of your patients, this incredible sense of, I want to do the best I can for you. So we're coming.
That's very kind of you.
You're so welcome. So we're coming to the end of our interview, but I just wanted to ask, what do you think you would say to that little boy that was pulling people apart, pulling things apart? Sorry, not people, that came later. Pulling things apart, and maybe had a negative framing around, ADHD and being destructive. What would you say to them now?
Well, I think um, I would hope that there will be more disruptive people like him,
Mm,
because the world need that.
yes.
We need that. We need people that break the boundaries. And the system, unfortunately, set us for not getting success as it should be. Like, as we go through school, you hear the words always: fly under the radar,
Mm-hmm.
don't ruffle any feathers, go by the book. Well, unfortunately, if you fly under the radar, you won't get anywhere.
Yep.
Okay. And if you don't ruffle feathers, you you can't achieve anything. And if you're mediocre and just doing what everybody does, it becomes a boring life. And if you do it by the book, well, someone need to write the book. So
Yes.
I don't have any regrets
Mm,
about my childhood. I don't have any regrets about what I've done,
mm,
and I would hope that the world will give me a chance to do more and
yeah.
to help more. I think, again, as you may have figured it out, my father was my idol, and he
Mm,
told me so many things that resonates in my head. And he always used to say, we have a beehive in our house, and he always look at the bees and he say, these bees are so systematic, so organized, but they are so selfless in achieving what they achieve. Okay, but together they build the hive,
yeah.
and they sustain their ecosystem, and they defend their home. And and by looking at that, you see that we are all, small links in the chain of the society, and everybody is important, and we need to
Mm,
work together in keeping our society safe and sound and healthy. So, but some of us are sheep, some of us are shepherd. There's nothing wrong with either. Okay, but you need some people to be disruptive. You need some people to take the next step. And when the first man went to space, there was no guarantee that they will survive. And when the first person have a hip replacement, okay, there was no guarantee that this will work.
Mm,
And if we keep cutting down any kind of innovation, we will never progress.
yeah.
And that's why you look at it. The phone that we use now has more memory and storage than the whole CIA headquarters had in the 60s. In a small period of time, we have advanced so much in
Yeah.
technology, but when it comes to medicine, we're still practicing things that we practiced hundreds of years ago. And that's because of the regulations that we have. And these regulations have been put for a reason, is to protect us. But at the same time, we need to have room for innovation. We need to have room to develop medicine and develop science in order to progress with life.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's amazing. We're all important. We need to be able to progress and we need to be able to have innovation. If you would want to say one thing to our audience as we wrap up, what would you like to say to them?
I say just always when you do something and act, just treat people the way you want to be treated.
I think that's a great thing to end with. Treat people the way you want to be treated because we're all human beings. We all contribute to the hive. We all contribute to change. Munjed Al Muderis, I want to thank you so much for being with us today and making time. It has been an absolute pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Second chance hero.